everybody. Welcome to Home Cooking with Deb. Today we're going to show you how to make homemade pasta dough and homemade pasta, fettucine. And we're going to get started with introducing you to our machine. This is the Imperia. This is made in Italy, and nobody does it better than them. So this is a pretty good one. I paid about, I don't know, $60 for this. You can get them anywhere from $25 up. It's stainless steel, and works pretty good. It's very simple. You attach it to the counter, and it's got a little handle, and you wheel it through. And we're going to show you all about it. The one thing that's important about your pasta machine is that this is going to sound really funny, but you don't wash it. Don't get it wet, because there's so many little crevices in here that if you don't get it dried 100%, it's going to rust inside, and you don't want that to happen. So you don't wash it. All you have to do is throw flour on it, and you keep it floured, and you'll be fine with that. This is a drying rack or a holding rack. When you put your pasta through the machine and you need a place to put it, you just hang it up on here until you're ready to stick it in your boiling water to cook it. So here we go. I make my pasta in my bread machine. I told you on another show how much I love my bread machine, and this is the reason why. It's got all kinds of settings, and the pasta dough is one of them. The whole thing takes, I don't know, 15 minutes. And making pasta is so simple, you're not going to believe it. And the taste is just like, you can't imagine it. It's nothing like what you get in dried pasta. So what you do is you take 2 eggs, cup and a half of all-purpose unbleached flour, just regular flour, and olive oil. And I used to measure it, but now I just kind of throw it in. But it's probably about 3 tablespoons. This is how simple it is. So it's on your dough setting, on your pasta setting here, and you press start. Now this is going to start to spin, and it's going to mix up your dough. So this kneads it. It's wonderful. And you let it go for a couple minutes, and you watch it to see if you need to add a little more moisture to it. You might need a little more water to it, and we'll put that in. Now, when I first started to make pasta, I didn't have a pasta machine, and I used to roll it out with a rolling pin by hand and cut it by hand. And I used to love to do that, but my husband thought I should have a pasta machine. So for Christmas, that's what I got. And what it does is it makes everything rolled out very evenly, so you get the same thickness. When you're doing it by hand, you just can't. So we're going to watch this until it gets together. Now, if you didn't have a bread machine, you could do this in your food processor by pulsing it. If you didn't have a food processor, you can literally do this by hand. And how you would do that is you would take your bread flour, put it on your counter in like a little volcano here, and you take your eggs and place them in the center with your olive oil, and you would take a fork and you just mix it and incorporate your flour into it as you go along, and then you would have to knead it. So either way that you make it, it's not hard. Now you see that's coming together nicely. But I think we'll put a little touch of water in there. That's probably plenty. Now the beauty about doing this is, honestly, if you put too much water or you put too much flour, all you have to do is sprinkle in a little more flour. And we're going to watch it for a minute. I think I might have put just a little bit too much. A little too much water. And I did that on purpose because I want to show you how easy this is to make it the right consistency. And just make sure you sprinkle a little bit at a time so you don't overdo it. I think this is going to be just out perfect. It's forming into a nice ball now. I think that's going to be good. So when you get finished, when the machine gets finished kneading it, we're going to close up the lid and we're going to let it rest for about 30 to 45 minutes, because the dough needs to rest. if it doesn't rest, when you go to roll it out, it has a lot of elasticity in it. And when you roll it out, it'll go right back into its previous shape. So by letting it rest, it removes that elasticity, and it allows you to, form it into whatever shape you want. And this is looking good, so you want to take a little closer look at this now. That's going to be good. Now, if you wanted to incorporate basil or tomatoes or spinach or red peppers, you could just put them right in here and it would knead right along with it. This is all you do. We're going to wait till the cycle ends. It'll be about 15 minutes, and we're going to let it rest, and when we come back, we're going to show you how to roll out the fettuccine, the dough, and make the fettuccine. That's it. That's a perfect consistency. That's what you want. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, our dough has rested now about 30-35 minutes, and we are going to take it out of our bread machine, and that's the way it looks. Okay. Oh, put flour on your hands. And there it is. You're going to need a lot of flour, so you want to keep a lot of flour hanging around all the time, because there, it's soft, beautiful dough. Now we're going to cut it up in 8 pieces so we can begin to feed it through our pasta machine. You're going to want a nice cotton towel, okay, 100% cotton, one that has no nap on it. And you want to keep your dough covered. It's very important because you don't want your dough to dry out as you're doing this. This is a little bit of a process, so you have to keep it covered. Now at this point, make sure you got your water in your big pot, and you want that to start to boil. Now the first step, you just take a little piece of dough, put some flour on it, flatten it out a little bit. When you take the pasta machine, you put it at the widest setting. Okay, you want to go around to the other side, and you simply feed it through. There's several steps to take, and it's important not to skip any of them because you're doing a couple of things. You are flattening it out, obviously, and thinning it out, and you're also getting the air bubbles out of it. Now you move it to the middle setting. This has got about 6 settings, so you start on the widest, you go to the next. See, it's getting thinner. You can put it through a couple of times. You can see the air bubbles coming out of it as you go along. And keep it nicely floured. Now you put it, I like my pasta just a little bit thicker, so I put it on the second to last setting. If you put it on the very last setting, it would be quite thin. You wheel it through. Now this setting really thins it out. Look at that. You get a nice long piece of pasta there. And you want to keep it floured. Now the next step, you got to move your handle over to your fettuccine setting. Now I put flour in there because it keeps it nice and dry. So what we're going to do, we'll try to do it this way and see. Usually this is a 2-person job. I've got this little thing here that lays it down and then pulls it through and cuts it. And there's your fettuccine. Now you want to put it on your little holding rack here. And you don't want it to be any longer than that because when it cooks, it gets a little bit bigger and you would have the longest, I'm going to take this off. You would have the longest pasta in the world and it would be really hard to manipulate. So you make it into a little rectangle. Pass it through. Make sure you put it back onto your widest setting. You fold it so you can see the air bubble in that. And you send it through again. And this is really all you do. It's pretty neat. And you make it into the middle setting so you can make it a little bit thinner. Send it through again. You can go another time. And you move your little spindle there to the second to last setting where you're going to thin it out. And there it goes. You can see, I can literally see the air bubbles coming out of it as we go. And you got to move your little handle up to the fettuccine setting. I'll put our little tray on. Normally my husband holds it for me, but he's holding the camera. So I got to do it all by myself. But you can. And here it comes. Cool. I love this. This is a lot of fun for me. And boy, is it delicious. And you've got some little pieces here, and you can throw those into the... Okay, we've got to get our setting back to the wide. And move our handle back down. We'll do one more piece to show you on camera, and then we'll finish the rest. And then we'll come back. You just, always make sure you get your water boiling, ready to go. And you got lots of flour on hand. Move it to the next setting. If you don't have all that flour on there, it could get stuck, and you don't want that to happen. And there it is. It's that simple. Look at that. Now if you do happen to make it a little bit too long, you just cut it before you